The Full-Time Review is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. And if you're watching from Australia and you've got plans to attend the AOG Energy at the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre over the next couple of days, why not visit my sponsor Craig International during the 3-day event? Craig International are on stand G7 and very much looking forward to meeting you. Last night at Dens Park, Aberdeen went down by a 1-0 against Tony Docherty's Dundee in what was one of the worst performances of the season. To put the game into context, with Ross County getting a last gasp equaliser against Hibs, they have closed the gap to us to just 3 points. Next up for the Dons, it's a trip to Motherwell. Things are quite simply getting terrifying. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg AB TV this Thursday afternoon here in Germany. This is a pre-recorded show after last night's absolutely shambolic display against Dundee. Today, I'm angry, I'm wound up, I'm frustrated, and I'm other things, but I'm not going to use bad language. That last night was a disgraceful performance, considering how well they performed on Saturday against Kilmarnock. To then turn in that type of performance in front of that travelling crowd completely and utterly baffles me. How can you go from being so good to so bad in just a few days? It's absolutely unacceptable. We are now deep in trouble. And as it stands, I don't think this group of players have the nerve, have the bravery to get us out of trouble. And do you know what I would have done today? If I was Peter Leven today, and I do not blame him in any way, shape or form. Okay, he might have changed things up a little bit earlier, but this poor guy's been thrown in at the deep end again, and it's sink or swim for him. Do you know what I would have done today? I would have got the boys into training first thing, and I brought their families with them. And I'd have got their families to do that post-match talk, because their livelihoods are now at stake, big time. You know the difference between going from the Scottish Premiership to the Championship? It's huge, absolutely huge. And livelihoods, not just for the players, but for people at that football club who have been at the club for years and years and years, there is so much at stake. Get a grip. Take a long, hard look in the mirror, start wearing that shirt with some pride, and show us you're deserving of wearing that shirt. I am so angry today. I can't believe it. And I cannot believe that I'm sitting here having an absolute rant, because this is totally out of character for me to do this. But this is how wound up I am. Oh, dear me. So guys, thank you so much for leaving your comments on my social media pages, which I will get to in a moment. And I think it's fair to say that you guys are just as angry as I am. The club at the moment is utterly shambolic from top to bottom. It's a mess. And I'm embarrassed. I really am embarrassed. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Dear God. What have we become? What could we become? So, first and foremost, let's just take care of a couple of little bits and pieces that have come out of the football club today. So the Scottish Cup semi-final has been confirmed for Saturday the 20th of April, kick-off at 12:30 p.m. Why should we be surprised that it's an early kick-off and fans have got to travel early to Hampden? And why should we be surprised that we haven't been given a 50-50 split? So we've been given 19,000 tickets, yet Hearts have got a 50-50 split. Go figure. So once again, our football administrators and authorities have come out and said, due to historical significance, that we're only getting 19,000 tickets. It's an absolute disgrace. It is not beyond reason that we are given a 50-50 split, and if we do not sell those tickets up to a certain point, then we hand them back to our opposition for them to sell. Am I being unreasonable? I do not think so. Again, absolutely lost for words. It's just ridiculous. It's unfair. That's what it is. Not to be able to give the opportunity for fans to travel to a showcase semi-final down in Glasgow, whether they go to games regularly or not. That is totally irrelevant. People should be given the choice whether they should go or not. Oh, God. Right. I'm sure you've read all the news today that there's a couple of names that, again, have been thrown into the Aberdeen managerial hat. The first one is Elfsborg manager Jimmy Tellin. I'm not sure how you pronounce his surname. Tellin, in Sweden. So his name has been thrown into the hat. And just before we came on air, I was told by a follower that there's a gentleman called Christian Titz, who is a German chap. He is the current manager of FC Magdeburg in the German Bundesliga 2, which is basically the second division of the German football pyramid. And according to what this follower told me today, that his agent was there on Saturday, and he is one of 3 candidates who is being looked at currently. So that is what I've been told. Make of it what you will. It's just continued gossip, as we know. Right, so to last night's game. So Peter Leven was absolutely correct in his team selection as far as I'm concerned, and as far as you guys were concerned. He didn't make any changes from the Kilmarnock game. Connor Barron played his 50th game for Aberdeen, and this is the first time since joining the Dons that Bojan Majowski has gone 7 games without scoring a goal. That was the formation for you, the 4-2-3-1. So let's address it. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's address it after I've shown you so that we can put the chat into context. Let's get Peter Leven in first of all. So I can read out a couple of his quotes, which are quite telling. And we'll also have a look at the match stats. Now, some of you may or may not like match stats, but I think data in this day and age is important. So first of all, let's get to Peter Leven. So he said, the players have to realise we're in trouble. We have to find a win. We're running out of games. We've got to start picking up points. The truth is, we weren't good enough. People have to stand up and be counted now. We weren't good enough. First half, we were really poor. It's quite telling, isn't it? Right, match stats. So 10 shots in total, to only of which 2 were on target. 2. I'm sorry, but it's just abysmal. Utterly abysmal. And if anything, it's embarrassing. Successful passes overall, Dundee outpassed us. Final passes in the final third, again, Dundee outpassed us. Touches, they had more than us. Touches in the opposite box, again, they had more than us, which I think, again, is quite telling. So, for me, there was absolutely no fight in that team last night. There was no desire. And I just don't know why. They bossed us in midfield. I absolutely cannot take anything away from them because they bossed us from the opening whistle right through until, what was it, the 97th, 98th minute. They wanted it more. They were more direct. Honestly, I'm so angry. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe that we put in that type of performance when we know what's at stake. I need to get to you guys, because if I'm not careful, I'm going to burst a blood vessel. And I'm supposed to be keeping my stress levels down. Hey. Right, where are you? So, let's have a wee look. Right, I'm going to open up X first of all, and I'll go through those, and then we'll open up Facebook. So just let me open that bit there. Okay, so Norman McLean has said, looking back to the big escape of 95, that team would trounce our current mob, which shows you how bad we are. They do not have the fight for this. Can't be bothered, as said, went from walking on air on Saturday to that dross last night. Who's going to want the job if our Premiership survival isn't assured? Only someone desperate like Neil Lennon, and I am afraid that is now a real possibility. A knee-jerk appointment by Dave Cormack is imminent. A lot of people have commented about Craig Sampson, our goalkeeping coach, and I'm telling you, none of them have been complimentary. Not one. And all of you who have commented, and I'm telling you there's a lot, and I'm not going to be able to get through them, you are all wondering what on earth he is doing. And I have to admit, I do too. Okay, so Charlie Fox makes a very interesting point. He says, might be unpopular, but I think us as fans need to do more to help the team. As much as they don't deserve it on this season's form, they need more positivity to push them through the now. Booing every misplaced or sideways pass doesn't help negativity, breeds poor performances. Look, I totally get that and I understand that. And I was advocating for us to be more positive towards them. The issue is, for me, if Aberdeen fans who continually go above and beyond to support the team, particularly away from home, make noise from the first whistle to the full-time whistle and do their very best to get behind the team and show a huge amount of effort, but that effort is not mirrored on the pitch, then you start to get annoyed and frustrated. And that's when the negativity starts to creep into people's thinking. So I totally understand why folk at the moment are very, very angry with our current situation, because it's not just on the pitch, it's off the field as well, which we know is a complete mess. But Charlie, I am with you. And, you know, as much as I can sit here and bang a drum about trying to be positive, and all of you know that I always try to be positive about things, it's really difficult at the moment to try and be positive. I'm just angry. Josie Joe said, the model is flawed. This is what happens when you reduce people to technical data and formula. We have become the place that de-skills and we spit out dejected bodies by the day. Just awful. Aberdeen now have the team that money buys. We have no soul and a business spirit. A lot of you were talking about VAR last night. Look, it was a nonsense how long it took. For me, you know, if we're giving penalties for that, we might as well give up. It's just, you know, it's never a penalty in a million years. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter that the penalty was given and that's how we lost the game. For me, that's not the bigger picture. The bigger picture is how we performed over the 90 minutes, which just wasn't good enough. I felt sorry for Jack last night because, you know, the ball hits his arm on the way down. It's not as if he stuck his arm up. It was such a bad call. But we can't blame VAR. We just can't. We are the masters of our own downfall. Fars Hat has said we're in deep, deep trouble. I hope the players realise this. Whether they care or not is another matter entirely. A lot of you are scathing about the Football Monitoring Board. Grey Pilgrim has said, last season, Everton fans hauled their club out of the relegation zone. Don's fans need to stand up and be counted now. Forget the boardroom mess, support our players. Go all out for these last few games. We can get wins over Livy and County as a minimum. Come on, you Reds, stand free. James Fisher said, poor performance again. I think we have some really good players, but they just aren't playing as a team. Devlin is too slow and his passing was shocking, although he wasn't alone last night. I would have young Milne in my team for the Motherwell game. Eric White said, great spirited performance against Kilmarnock, then back to 0 points in the league yet again. This is worse than 94-95 and 21-22. At least then there was some fight and the occasional point. Leven spoke well yesterday. Players need to make up for their poor performances. Alan Tasker has said something needs to change at board level drastically, among other things. Gillian Teberin has said, we need the right manager in ASAP. The uncertainty does not help anyone. As fans, however, we must accept that if we go down, we don't blame the new face. Mr. Bojan Goals has said, these players are an absolute disgrace to the profession. Where's their sense of professionalism, pride and fight? I'm also stunned by the fact that the man responsible for signing these players is still in a job. The club is an absolute joke from top to the very bottom. Oh, you guys are so angry. I totally get it. The Dundee Dons of Aberdeen said this current squad wouldn't win the Scottish Championship. Adam Cran has said definitely need to rethink about the goalkeeper. Wayno DJ said, as sad as it sounds, I personally think we now go down via the playoffs. Teams around us keep picking up points. As for us, we've been in free fall since Christmas. It's 11 league games without a win. 11 league games. And I read today on the BBC site, who do their sort of post-match analysis, there's an interesting stat on there. It says, we have picked up 0.93 points per league games after 29 fixtures. 0.93. Doesn't it blow your mind? Wayno went on to say, a team of players that are too soft and they think they're better than they are. Andrew Christie has said, shambolic, no heart, and utter disgrace. Embarrassing for all our fans and the city. We are a laughingstock. Suze has said it's a mess, and I'm not confident this team can get us out of it. David Payne said, what happened to your good feeling about another good performance yesterday? So in the preview show, you know, I said, look, I've got a funny feeling. I fancy it. I just fancy us. Oh my God, how wrong could I be? How wrong could I be? Forgive the shadows and everything. The sun is just literally setting over the top of the mountains here. Right. Let me get on to Facebook now. Okay. So. Right, Duncan McBain has said, I just want this season over with. Started off with great hopes and expectations, but now it's a struggle to stay in the league. Darren Kemp says, we'll get the usual claptrap about sticking together and needing the fans to play their part. The reality is the fans were brilliant from first whistle to last before rightfully showing their feelings at the end. We got nothing back on the pitch. Numerous times this season, the team have not played well when playing in front of anything remotely like a big crowd. None of this bodes well. The next few weeks will need characters, boys with a bit of fight who'll go through the opposition and their teammates too. Do we have that? The signs are not good. Ang Jameson has said, I felt last week was going to be different as cup games and zero pressure, so played without fear. They looked terrified last night, all scared to make a mistake. As for our goalie coach, talking tactics to our striker before he came on. Again, that's just one of numerous messages about Craig Sampson last night. Scott Robertson has said, hard to see where the next win comes from after last night. If we don't shoot, we won't score. At the moment, we create so few chances that we really must make ourselves harder to beat. Nicola Cohen has said, think we won on Saturday because the pressure was lifted off our shoulders. Back to league business and any confidence and self-belief goes out the window. Alex Wallace has said, forget the penalty. We were abysmal. Hoofball, yet again. Why don't we play to our strengths and play on the deck like Saturday? I completely agree. John Dorwood is thinking it's a playoff place at best for us now. County are grinding out results and our only saving grace may be Livy too far behind. But a few wins could change that. I am not sure the players get the situation we are in. Derek Griffiths said that was eye-bleeding stuff. Still angry about that performance. No fight. The penalty was a complete joke. When you're down, every decision goes against you. We just look like a team that's going down. David Scott, I'm almost lost for words after last night. There's no urgency in the play at all. Our situation is becoming desperate and there appears to be no fight. All of you are saying that. No fight, no desire. Martin Smith, what can you say? It's clear the players have the fear. Not one player won their one-to-one battles. Agreed. Murray Wright, I don't understand how we can go from so strong and attacking on Saturday to so meek and timid last night. Wake up, lads. Gordon Ritchie said, poor performance all round, no fight. We're in a relegation battle. The players need a hard look at themselves and we're running out of time. Stuart Haddon has said there's no direction in the club. We're crying out for a leader on the pitch. Ewan Sutherland, among other things, has said, what a shambles this club has become. No direction. We are seriously relegation favourites if we keep playing like this. Make no mistake, this is a crisis that we are in. Paul Mills has said, scary thing is, Levin was talking like a guy who thinks we are doomed as he can't see any fighters in his team. John Robb said, can't actually believe how poor we were last night. Didn't close down. Passing was horrendous. No fight. Paul J. Johnston has said the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the last two games by exactly the same team within a few days of each other has totally baffled me. Seriously worried that the majority of the side don't care. G.W. Finlater said, we as Aberdeen fans now need to accept the brutal reality that relegation might happen. I feel we are favourites to go down with Livingston. Teams around us winning, fighting, whereas we have no belief, no energy, and the players seemingly given up. Years of mismanagement usually end only in one way, relegation. I fear we are beyond turning it around. Everybody's absolutely petrified that we could go down. And sometimes I wonder if we just, it would never happen, but sometimes I just wonder if you just take a very small select group of fans and just stick them in the dressing room and let the players know how fans feel. It would never happen. I just sometimes wonder. Derek Beattie said, Dundee were everything we were not last night. Committed, energetic, positive, direct and alert. We couldn't even bring these basic qualities to a match where we desperately needed the 3 points. So poor and deflating. Yeah. Again, our set pieces last night. Just what are we doing? At corners, stick it in the box. Stop all this nonsense. Get back to how it should be done. Get the big lads up, stick it in the box. Put it on the area of the penalty spot. Drive it in. That's how we were coached. That's how you should be coached. Drive it in to the area around the penalty spot and let the big lads challenge for the ball. Please. Scott Bowie said, we're in free fall with no clue how to get out of it. Last night was pitiful from start to finish. Long, aimless balls. John Moore said, we were awful. We didn't want the ball, made no effort to try win the second balls, didn't look up for the fight at all. You know, a lot of you have also, you know, I don't have time to go through every single comment, but a lot of you were very, very complimentary about how Tony Docherty's Dundee played yesterday. Very complimentary. Sorry guys, I'm just literally reading your comments as we're going through it. Scott Robertson came back and said, we played like primary school kids from start to finish, outfought and outplayed by a very average Dundee team that has been assembled with loans and free transfers. Stephen Tyndall said, really feel for Peter leaving, watching his interview last night after the game. None of this his making, and he's been chucked into the deep end without a paddle again. Right guys, I'll just read a couple of more comments out because we're coming up to half an hour. Gareth Mackey has said, we all know there is ability and talent in that squad, but there's one vital element lacking for a long time now, which is desire, he says, apart from Graham Shinney. Dread to think if Ross County had won last night too. There's no excuses for this crisis we're in either. Yet we still stick together as Dons fans. Let's get through it. Fraser Gunn said last night was appalling. No attacking intent, no fight, no passion, just eye-bleeding football. Dundee played us off the park. Okay. Right. Just let me load a couple more. David Garrow said, very poor again. The Ross County game will be a cup final for us because I don't fancy us on Saturday against Motherwell. Terrible situation and relegation now very possible. Neil McDonald said, deflated, but there's still hope. Karen O'Connor said, what little belief I had that we'd stay up has gone after last night. God help us if we end up in the playoffs. The championship clubs will rip us to shreds. Steve Brownlee says, can't get any worse. That performance is rock bottom. You know, I always put out a disclaimer at the top of the show that when you leave your comments and stuff that I ask you not to use bad language because it just helps with YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Plus also it's just, I just, want you to be respectful and all that sort of stuff. But even I'm struggling not to use bad language today. I really am. Right, guys. So I'm going to call it a night or call it a day, whatever you wish. Thank you for leaving all your comments. And I am sorry that today's show has been as negative as it has. I just can't find the positivity in anything at the moment. I really can't. And I really hope that we get through the Motherwell game, that, somehow we get something from that game. We get into this international break. We get the new manager in, and then we've got this huge game now against Ross County at Pittodrie to take care of. So look, for me, we just have to pick ourselves up. We just have to go again. And we just need to get behind the team as best as we can. As frustrating and as hard and as horrible it is, I just don't think we have a choice but to try and lift these guys. I don't think there's, you guys continue to absolutely amaze me week in, week out with your commitment and your support. And yeah. Right, guys, listen, thank you so much. Enjoy the next few days. I'll be with you again on Friday for the preview show for the game against Motherwell, and hoping to have a bit of fun with the next player doing the old question and answer session. So take good care of yourselves. Let's not get too down. I'll see you Friday night. Stand free.